Hello and welcome to the first Lawwire Media episode. In this era of technology and competition, companies are doing all they can to protect their intellectual property. One such intellectual property is a soundmark. In the course of this podcast, I will try to explain the meaning of the word soundmark and other aspects of this new age, non-conventional trademark. Before going forward, let me explain the meaning of the word soundmark. A soundmark or a sound trademark is a non-conventional trademark where sound is used to identify the commercial origin of products or services. In the case of soundmarks, a certain sound is associated with a company or its product or services. The most famous example among soundmarks is the roar of the MGM Studios lion. The lion itself changed over time, but the sound remained the same for more than half a century. A soundmark can comprise words that are sung or spoken, or a sound of a barking dog or a cat mewing or a whistle blowing. Most importantly, a soundmark must serve the purpose of identifying the source of origin of the goods or services for which the soundmark is applied for. It is essential for us to know what are the criteria to determine whether a soundmark can be registered or not. To be registered, a soundmark must, number 1, be capable of identifying the source of origin of goods or services through the audio as opposed to the visual senses. That is, the sound must be typically associated with that product or service. Number 2, it must be considered whether the proposed soundmark has functional aspects. An example of a soundmark that would not be regarded as functional or common to the trade is the sound of a chainsaw for the retailing of books. Number 3, the graphical representation must be clear, precise and distinctive. Number 4, the mark must be capable of being put on the register of trademarks and being published in the journal. Thus, as long as the mark can be graphically represented, that is, represented in paper form, even three-dimensional soundmarks can be registered. Now, a question would come in everyone's mind, which is, has there been any soundmark registered in India? The answer is yes. This soundmark was filed by the internet giant Yahoo for its 3-note Yahoo Yodel. The Indian authorities finally granted registration for the Yahoo Yodel on the 18th of August 2008. India has granted no soundmarks apart from the Yahoo Yodel since a new trademarks law that recognized these came into effect in 2003. The Trademarks Office was hesitant to do so because it wasn't sure whether the uniqueness of a sound could be expressed. By this move, the Indian Trademark Registry has acknowledged global realities and opened up new avenues for Indian entrepreneurs to register their brands under the soundmarks category. Finnish mobile maker Nokia has also applied for a soundmark for its signature musical notation in the Mumbai branch of the Trademarks Registry, and the application is being processed. I hope you enjoyed this month's episode. We would be back with more interesting issues in the coming weeks.